CIS had intended to follow the rules for US presidential polls and ban any candidate from running in the Nanny Awards if they had already won twice. But when you come across a case of idiocy, so perfectly exemplified, so meticulously constructed, that it rips apart the very fabric of space and time, well, we decided we had to rip up any plan to ban it from being considered once again for the awards. So what's happened? Well, Miss Ingrid Newkirk, the founder of PETA, that is People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, has updated her will. No, not by adding a bequest to CIS, despite all the free publicity that we have given PETA by awarding it the Nanny's Prize in previous years. In fact, Ms. Newkirk has bequeathed in her will a slice of her buttocks. Yes, you heard that correctly. Teams of researchers work hard on this material, so what I'm telling you is the truth. She's leaving this piece of her derriere to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese or his successor, and this is to remind the Prime Minister that sheep are subject to the practice of mulesing. Other parts of her body will apparently also be sent to different government departments when the moment arrives. And we wonder if Miss Newkirk has some Kiwi ancestry, because PETA clearly has a thing for sheep. Crowds entering the stadium for the first Australia-hosted match of the FIFA Women's World Cup were confronted by PETA's sheep mascot, dressed in a referee jersey and holding a giant red card urging people to shun wool. PETA's also written again to Albo, who, after the bequest announcement, must have been keen to hear if he was inheriting more dissected bits. But in this case, PETA simply wanted the government to ban minors from engaging in hunting activities like shooting rabbits. You can only suppose that with PETA having already got rid of all the sheep, farmers will be delighted to see their paddocks filled up with bunnies and will go about their day merrily whistling the theme from Watership Down. And the rabbits will also be free to swarm onto our roads without fear. That is, if the many nannies now trying to stop us driving cars get their way. For a start, the Climate Council wants to cut private vehicle usage by half in order to reduce emissions, while the Victorian government wants to ban completely all emitting road vehicles by 2035 and allow only green vehicles powered by battery or possibly even solar or, who knows, compost heap bacteria. The council has made no mention of the emitting factories that produce the electric cars and batteries, nor any mention of the emissions from house fires when those lithium batteries self-ignite, which is definitely not the kind of automatic ignition system listed in the brochure. And a group called Comms Declare, probably just a group of bored adolescents on social media, thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, it wants to go further and ban all advertising for utes and SUVs. Like the notorious Hays Code from the US, which you may recall didn't allow movies to show married couples in the same bed. Well, like that code, ute and SUV advertising has been deemed vehicular pornography, likely to corrupt innocent tradies, soccer mums, luring them into the car showroom dens of iniquity. No doubt the advocacy group is concerned that this could also lead to loading zones and school drop-off areas, falling prey to all kinds of immoral behaviour, such as driving and parking. To help us to just say no to our vehicle addiction, sports clubs and art institutions are being urged to remove fossil fuel sponsorships under a new code designed to ban coal, oil, and gas companies from funding major events. But cars and fuels They're just the tip of the advertising iceberg we apparently have to be protected from. This year's call for junk food advertising to be banned, and there is such a call every year. It comes from Teal MP Sophie Scomps. We suspect that this one passes around the Teal party room in a planned rotation, and now, no doubt, they will soon be calling for sports teams to remove any junk food, or indeed any car brand, sponsors from their jerseys as well. I'm sure the Greens groups will step in to donate funds to keep Australia's sports teams on the field. No doubt the Fremantle Dockers will soon be replacing their Woodside patch with one from the Worldwide Fund for Nature. The Diamonds netball team will swap their Nissan and Origin Energy sponsorship for Greenpeace. And the NRL will dump Isuzu and Gulf Oil the minute Sea Shepherd sends them a cheque. Meanwhile, the New South Wales government, let's not forget the New South Wales government, it's also decreed that venues have to remove external signage that advertise gambling, because apparently we don't possess the free will to resist the siren call of a garish room filled with flashing lights and jangling beeping machines. Still on gambling, the federal government has banned the use of credit cards for online casinos and sports betting, saying that the move is to prevent people falling into debt. Well, I have to say that the CIS might approve of this move if we could do the same to the government and take away their credit card. The one that sees them gambling our money on useless programs, pointless projects, and virtue signalling campaigns designed to make the progressives feel good about how they are pointing the moral way for the rest of us. Because, of course, the government credit card doesn't see the government falling into debt. And that's because it's not them that pays the bill, it's us. And what's being added to our bill, for a start, is the $250 million the government intends to spend to support its new ban on recreational vaping, announced this year. Be in no doubt that our nursemaids in Canberra are already thinking of ways to burn more of our money in the coming year. But now, the time you've been waiting for, it's time to announce the winners of this year's crop of nannies. Third place. Third place goes to the call to remove coal, oil and gas sponsorship from sport and cultural events. Perhaps Chris Bowen can convince teams and venues to display pictures of electric cars instead, which is about as close as most Australian drivers want to get to an EV, it seems. Second place. Second place goes to the ban on vaping, which joins a long conga line of things we're not allowed to enjoy because somebody else doesn't like it and thinks it's bad for us. Let's see if banning vapes is going to push people, particularly young people, back to good old tobacco. Fear not. Fear not, the nannies are already onto it, with calls for Australia to follow the UK and progressively ban smoking altogether by raising the legal age for smoking every year. New Zealand had planned to ban anybody born after 2009 from buying cigarettes, but one of the first actions taken by their new, more sensible government was to overturn this draconian move. And now we come to first place. The Nanny Award for 2023 goes to Comms Declare, with its proposal to ban ads for utes and SUVs. You would think that that one would be impossible to top, but I fear we'll soon see calls to ban ads for other vehicles, with claims that two-door hatchbacks are a dangerous gateway drug that will lead car addicts to eventually end up mainlining Mack trucks. We await keenly to see what the new crop of Nanny Awards and Nanny State what kind of new crop of proposals comes from the Nanny State in 2024. In the meantime, on behalf of all of us at CIS, I wish you and your families a Merry Christmas and encourage you to enjoy the party season while you can. before the government bans parties too. Merry Christmas.